Hi, I'm Jamie with The Saving Secret, where I help you be more intentional with your money. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to purchase the S&P 500. And so if you're new to investing, you might have heard people say, hey, I invest in the stock market, and people can get 7 to 10% annualized returns. But how do you actually invest? And this is something that most people, if you haven't done it, it can seem overwhelming. But today, I'm going to walk through it step by step. I'm going to show you what it really means to invest in the S&P 500. In order to get investing, you need to set up an account with a brokerage company and there's lots of them. There's Fidelity, Schwab. You can set up ones with SoFi. There's a lot of different ones. For me personally, I've used Fidelity. I've had great customer experiences. I've opened up lots of different accounts. And so I think it's a great place to get started. They have basically no fees, best in the industry, personal opinion. This is not being sponsored by them. They're welcome to sponsor me if they'd like. But I'm really just a huge fan, and I want to help other people win with money, and Fidelity is really a clear choice. So you need to open up an account. It's like opening up a bank account, very simple. So if you are doing this, if you need to pause the video, go ahead and set it up. It only takes a couple of minutes, very easy. Whether it's a retirement account or whether it's a brokerage account determines whether I buy an ETF or an index fund. So these terms, ETF and an index fund, what are these? Simply put, an ETF is an index or just pool investors' money to create professionally managed portfolios. And they kind of give you the best of both worlds. They simplify investing. They keep expense ratios relatively low. You don't need to work with a professional. You don't need to pay somebody to manage your money. You can do it on your own. It's really not that hard, and it can help you reduce risks through diversification. And I want to kind of talk about some of the differences. Here's the great part. They talk about they're both simple to manage. Something that I think is important is related to taxes. So specifically, if you have a regular brokerage account, a non-retirement account, I would tip my hat, or say me personally, I would focus on purchasing ETFs rather than index funds in a brokerage account, because there are potentially more tax efficient, and that is truly the case, especially with the S&P 500. But if you are doing a retirement account, I would defer and say that index funds are better. There's slightly lower fees, and you can set up automation with them. So that's my kind of synopsis. I'll leave this link in the description below. You're welcome to fully read it. But for me, the simplicity terms are, if you're going for a brokerage account, ETFs. If you're going for a retirement account, I recommend just your simple index funds. So ETFs. So what are the financial products that you can purchase, the ETFs of the S&P 500? There's four that Forbes kind of calls out here. They're kind of the big four. There's SPI, there's IVV, there's VU, and the newest one is the SPLG. And so if you look over here, what they do is they all mimic the S&P 500. So they all have very similar progress of how they do it, slightly different because of who puts the fund together. Now, if you see this thing called an expense ratio, that is how this company makes their money on owning it. So they have half a trillion dollars in assets, and the way they make money is they make 0.095% of the assets in that. So really what they're saying is they make $9.50 off every $10,000 you invest. So for less than $10, you get what they've done this past year, giving you 24% returns. And if you invested $10, if you invested 10,000, you have to spend $10. So you would have made, significant amount of money. If you're making 24% on this, you're going to make, close to $2,500, 26 on your return if you invested $10,000, and you'd have to pay $9.50 for those gains. So definitely worth it. That's what the expense ratios are here. So now that you kind of understand the expense ratios, now you might be saying, well, if they're similar in investments, I want to find the one with the lowest expense ratio. And that's why this guy is kind of the newest one and the one with the lowest expense ratio. And it is personally SPLG. That is, for me, not financial advice, but just what I do is I purchase SPLG on a monthly basis. So how do you do it? All right, so you've opened up your account with Fidelity, you funded it, you're ready to go. Now remember, because it is an ETF, you need to be able to purchase the SPLG or the ETF version of this fund. You need to be able to purchase it when the stock market is open. And that is typically from 9:30 to 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time during Monday through Friday, outside of holidays, right? So obviously this is a holiday in which I'm recording it, so I'm not going to be able to show you the full details, but you can click the buy button here. You're going to need to click your account that you're going to want to buy this in. You click the symbol. We've already typed that in, SPLG. Want to do a buy option. If it looks a little different, you can use the simplified one, but I kind of like this expanded one. So you're going to buy. You can determine how much you want to buy. If you don't know the exact quantity, Fidelity lets you do fractional shares. So you could actually say the dollar amount that you want to put in there. So if you had $500, it gives you the quantity there. If you wanted to do less than that, it can kind of figure it out for you. So you might say, hey, I want to buy 7. That's what it is. You click preview the order, like I said, when the stock market is open, and you're good to go. And that is how you purchase an ETF at Fidelity. Super easy. So now let's say you open up a retirement account and you say, well, you had said that for retirement accounts, it might make sense to buy index funds. So let's look at the best S&P 500 index fund. This is from NerdWallet. So again, there are kind of four or five main funds that offer this. Now with index funds, some of them have minimum investments. And as you can imagine, financial things have changed over the time. There used to be more work, but the computerization, cell phones, mobile, things have been coming down cheaper and cheaper. It's never been a cheaper time to invest because working and getting access to the stock market has never been easier. So some of these fees are kind of interesting. So if Vanguard is, an S&P 500 index fund, but look at the ratios here. So there's a couple of them. And if you notice, this is actually the Fidelity Zero Cap Index, F, and then it says NIL, which means zero. Is a 0%. So this is kind of like your Costco or Sam's Club chicken. It's a loss leader for them. However, this is one of those index funds that I believe you can only purchase it through Fidelity. So if you have your brokerage account with somebody else, you're not going to probably be able to get this. Not sure about that. You can verify it. But again, another reason having your stuff at Fidelity, you're going to be able to have access to the zero cap FNILX, which has an expense ratio of 0. So you follow those trends of the performance, you don't need to pay them anything for managing it. So it's a really great one. Obviously, like I said, this is 0.015. I mean, so even this one, if you had $10,000 invested, you're only paying $1.50. So you're not really paying a lot anyways, but it's just nice to know that there's one that's 0. So if you want to do FNILX, so we come over here and we want to say, okay, we want to actually purchase this one. So you come over here. Now it looks a little bit more simplified version. You want to just click buy and you want to click your dollar amount. So if you want to hit $500 and you just hit preview the order. For index funds, you do not need to purchase them when the stock market is open. In fact, it only purchases one time. So you purchase it and it'll run their analysis and it'll give you the updated number and you continue to do that. What's great about index funds is you can actually automate it, specifically with Fidelity. So if you have money going in there on a regular basis, monthly, whatever you want to do, you can actually set it up so it will do the purchasing for you. So there you have it. Those are how you can invest in the S&P 500 at Fidelity. Whether it's an index fund or an ETF, you can do this. Investing your money is extremely important to building financial security and building wealth over the long haul. Again, I've done lots of different videos to help you be more intentional with your money. If you have any questions about the process or how I can help, please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching.